All right.
What I was asking is, the college Republicans over at the University of Georgia have said they're not asking their members to vote for Donald Trump. So, speaking directly to students in Georgia, what's your message to them?
It's the message to everybody right now. When you look back on 2016, who did you vote for? Well, I'm making the pitch that if you vote for Johnson and Weld, you're not going to be sorry. And that's going to be 2 days after the election, that's going to be 2 years after the election, that's going to be 20 years after the election. I hate to say it, but I think if Hillary Clinton is elected, that from day one, there's going to be a drumbeat of impeachment the entire time she's in office. Whether or not she's impeached or not, that's all we're going to hear about for 4 straight years. And Donald Trump, you know what? If he is the next president on Inauguration Day, he's going to be in court for child rape. This is unprecedented.
There's some substantial differences between Clinton and Trump. How are you different from both of their standpoints?
I'd like to think I take kind of the best of both of them. The notion, I really think that the majority of Americans are fiscally conservative. I think the majority of Americans really do care about higher taxes, meaning keep government out of my pocketbook. I think the majority of Americans are socially inclusive. Keep government out of my bedroom. Let me make choices in my own life that only I should be making. Neither one of them seem to be skeptical when it comes to military intervention, when it comes to regime change. I'm skeptical when it comes to regime change. In my lifetime, I can't think of one single example where regime change has worked out. The world is not more safe, it's less safe. And then lastly, neither one of them are free market. Free market leads to more U.S. jobs. Crony capitalism is something that we all hate and abhor. It's when government picks winners and losers, and I think with all these WikiLeaks things that Hillary Clinton is just proven to be the one that's selling favoritism, selling success.
Trump got off the ground on immigration. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, well, for me, being from New Mexico, we should be embracing immigration. Immigration is really a good thing. We should make it as easy as possible for somebody that wants to come into this country and work to be able to get a work visa. And a work visa should entail a background check and a Social Security card. Don't build a wall across the border. That's just crazy. And in New Mexico, where half the population is Hispanic, how's that deportation of 11 million undocumented workers going to work in New Mexico? I mean, it's going to be a knock on the door, and every other household is going to be Hispanic. So produce papers? How's it going to work? It's going to be ugly.
How do you realistically expect to do? What numbers do you expect on Election Day?
Well, given that this is a rally and that anything is possible, we're shooting for the win here. But short of a win, it's changing politics going forward. Having been excluded from the debates, I hope at a minimum that out of this election that people will recognize that the emperor wears no clothes when it comes to the debate commission. Democrats and Republicans that exclude everybody else from being a part of the process. And the higher the vote total, the bigger the statement that you can make. So my pitch is to all voters, look, nobody wants to vote. I don't find anybody that really wants to vote for Trump or Clinton. There is a principled alternative to both of them.
That kind of follows. Do you expect this election to really give a boost to libertarians in general?
I do. I happen to think that moving forward, I think that libertarians are going to fill up the slate when it comes to candidates running for office. I think that next cycle, when it comes to president, I think that you'll see a lot of people line up to be the libertarian nominee for president.
Governor Johnson, the internet is kind of on fire today over Bill Weld's vouching for Hillary. Do you have an honest rebuttal to what Governor Weld said?
Honest rebuttal? That would be opposed to everything else that I say?
Candid. How's candid? Let's use the word.
Well, look, Bill hates Trump. I don't know how much more simple I can put that, but you know what? I happen to think that Hillary's got just as many problems, if not more. I find both of them unacceptable as candidates running for president. There's a reason that they are the two most vilified candidates that have ever run for the presidency. They're flawed.
Going back to your numbers expected for this election, if you guys hit the 5% threshold, which I'm assuming you're assuming that you're going to actually hit, and we hope the best for you, of course. Do you believe the Libertarian Party should accept that federal funding that they have then qualified for in the past election?
Yeah, I think it's a game changer. In the 2020 cycle of the Libertarian, if we get to 5%, there won't be any issues with regard to ballot access. It's a Herculean effort to get on the ballot in all 50 states. That issue would go away. And then $10 million, when you consider that the Libertarian Party right now raises about $250,000 a year, $10 million is a game changer.
I see. But wouldn't it go against the generalized notion in the Libertarian Party that taxation is theft?
Well, if that's what the nominees decide, if that's what they decide in 2020, then so be it. But hopefully, I'll set the table for 2020 that potentially they would have a game-changing candidacy.
Governor, I've got another student-related question for you. I'm about to graduate, and I'm graduating with all sorts of student loan debt. What is your plan, and what will you do for students to combat high student loan debt?
Well, let me just start off by saying that students, millennials, 18 to 34, you all are getting screwed. I'm going to get my health care, I'm going to get my retirement, and oh, by the way, you've got to pay for it, but maybe it won't be around by the time you want to collect on it. And then President Obama's Affordable Health Care Act. That's dependent on young, healthy people paying for those that are older and not so healthy. And then, when it comes to these wars, you're the one that gets put in harm's way. You're the one that ends up dying, hurt, maimed, psychologically injured for the rest of your lives. And then with regard to student loan debt, what is the main reason for the high cost of student loan debt? It's guaranteed government student loans. If guaranteed government student loans were to have never existed, college tuition today would be half of what it is. They've skewed the marketplace. I think students have been sold a bill of goods, that you're graduating with college with a home mortgage without the home. And I would be open to legislation that would relieve those interest rates on student loans. If we can bail out Wall Street by offering them money to hold on to their assets, I think something similar should be done with regard to students. But then right the boat and get the government out of student loans. That doesn't mean student loans are going to go away. It just means that colleges and universities are going to have to get a lot more competitive to get your school dollars, something that does not exist today. They've skewed the marketplace. They've created a demand that is not, that isn't, from a market standpoint, would not be as great but for guaranteed government student loans.
A few more questions. Yes.
How bad did your Aleppo moment hurt you?
How bad did it hurt me?
Yeah, you
well, hopefully it didn't hurt me at all. The notion that, gaffe is one thing, integrity and honesty is another thing, and I understand the issues. I understand just how convoluted all these, our foreign policy is. Hillary's been an architect of that foreign policy, and we need to stop. We need to stop supporting regime change. Right now, the only out that we've got when it comes to Syria, only way to bring that horrible situation to an end is to join hands with Russia and solve that diplomatically. The only way to address North Korea, which I think is the biggest threat in the world, is to join hands with China diplomatically.
How do you count Social Security?
Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, the entitlements. It's not an option to not talk about reforming those entitlements. So when it comes to Social Security, some things that really have to get done. Raising the retirement age. You could raise the threshold for applicable funds being taken out of your, meaning what is the cap right now? $120,000 a year? I mean, you could raise that cap. You've got to bring solvency, but and it's all about actuarially speaking to accomplish that. So raising the retirement age, you could have a really fair means testing to Social Security. Should you get back more money than what you paid in, given a certain level of income? I think there could be a very fair means testing to go along with this also. But to do nothing regarding this is ignoring the fact that 2030, Social Security is bankrupt.
Couple more questions.
I've got a question. Given the future job market in our country, we obviously don't have a whole lot of exports of production goods other than like very high level production. What is the future of our economy? What are we exporting to the world?
You know what? I believe that the future economy in this country is the sharing economy. And we've just seen the tip of that sharing economy, Uber. I think it's Uber everything. It's you as an entrepreneur applying what it is you know directly to the end user, doing away with the middleman. So you provide, make it as easy as possible for you to be in business for yourself, for you to create jobs for others, but to be able to directly deliver your goods and services to an end user pays less, you get paid more because no middleman.
What about intellectually speaking? Like, what about if we increase the amount of education we can provide to all of our people? Wouldn't you say more of our exports would be, software, design?
I think that's what it is now. And so when you talk about free trade, when you talk about TPP, we're the only candidates to support TPP. It's for just those exact reasons. That's where we excel, is in these high-paid jobs that have to do with intellectual property, that have to do with the actual innovating invention of all these incredible products.
What's the game score between you and Bill Weld in chess?
Well, it happens to be 2-0, but I'm sure Game 3 is going to be a whole lot different.
Nice.
Last question.
Okay, when he mentioned about what was going on online after Bill Weld talked the other night, and there are some libertarians that are saying, "My goodness, I don't even want to vote at this point." And so, what can you say to those libertarians to win them back and say, "Hey"?
Take a chill pill. Come on, we're making history here. We're going to change the world. People are going to listen to libertarians here for the first time, and that's a good thing. And hey, looking back on the 2016 election, a vote for a libertarian, you can hold your head high for the rest of your life.
And with that, that's it. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
guys. Please.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you.
So nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, great meeting you.